The scream tore from Bianca Walsh's throat before she could stop it, her back slamming against the brick wall of the parking garage as Marcus's hand wrapped around her wrist with bruising force. "You think you can just leave me?" His breath reeked of whiskey, his eyes bloodshot and wild in the dim fluorescent lighting. "After everything I did for you, Marcus, please." Her voice shook, heart hammering against her ribs. "We broke up 3 months ago. You need to let this go. Let it go." He laughed, a harsh sound that echoed off the concrete walls. "You're mine, Bianca. You'll always be mine." She tried to wrench her arm free, but his grip only tightened. Panic flooded her system as he pressed closer, trapping her against the cold wall. The parking garage was nearly empty at this hour, most of the office workers already gone for the evening. She'd stayed late finishing inventory at the boutique where she worked, never imagining Marcus would be waiting for her. "Let her go." The voice came from behind Marcus, deep and commanding. Bianca's eyes flew to the source and found a tall man in an expensive charcoal suit striding toward them. Even in her terror, she registered his presence like a force of nature, broad shoulders and controlled power in every movement. Marcus spun around, still gripping her wrist. "Mind your own business. I'm making it my business." The stranger closed the distance between them, his jaw set. "Release her, now." "Or what?" Marcus sneered, but Bianca felt his grip loosen slightly. The stranger pulled out his phone. "Or I call the police, and they add assault charges to whatever restraining order violations you've already racked up." How did he know about the restraining order? Bianca had filed it last month after Marcus had shown up at her apartment for the 5th time, but he'd been violating it ever since. "You don't know what you're talking about," Marcus said, but uncertainty crept into his voice. "I know exactly what I'm talking about. I also know that parking garages have security cameras." The stranger gestured upward. "And I know several officers in this precinct who owe me favors." Marcus's hand dropped from Bianca's wrist. He shot her a venomous look. "This isn't over." "Yes, it is," the stranger said, stepping between them. "If you come near her again, you'll have more problems than you can handle. I promise you that." Something in his tone made Marcus hesitate. He looked between them, then backed away, muttering curses under his breath before disappearing down the garage ramp. Bianca sagged against the wall, adrenaline draining from her body and leaving her shaking. The stranger turned to her, his expression softening. "Are you all right?" She nodded, then shook her head, then felt tears burning behind her eyes. "I don't know, thank you. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't. You're safe now." He kept a respectful distance, but his presence felt protective rather than threatening. "I'm Harrison Tate, Bianca Walsh." She rubbed her wrist where red marks were already forming. Harrison's eyes darkened when he saw the bruises. "How long has he been harassing you?" "Since we broke up. 3 months of calls, texts, showing up at my work, my apartment." The words tumbled out. "I got a restraining order, but he doesn't care. He just keeps coming back." "Where's your car?" She gestured to a beat-up Honda 2 rows over. "There. I'll walk you to it." They crossed the parking garage in silence, Bianca's legs still unsteady. When they reached her car, she fumbled with her keys. "Thank you again, Mr. Tate. I really don't know how to repay you." "Harrison," he corrected, "and you don't owe me anything. But I am concerned about your safety. Does he know where you live?" "Yes." The admission made her stomach turn. "I've been staying with a friend sometimes, trying to keep him guessing, but I can't impose on her forever." Harrison pulled a business card from his wallet and handed it to her. She glanced down at the embossed lettering, Harrison Tate, CEO, Tate Industries. Her eyes widened. "You're Harrison Tate." The Harrison Tate, Tate Industries, was one of the largest commercial real estate companies in the state, with developments spanning multiple cities. She'd read about Harrison in business magazines, though the photos hadn't done justice to his presence in person. That's me. A hint of amusement crossed his features. Look, I have a proposition. I own a property about 20 minutes from here, a main house with a guest house on the grounds. The guest house is empty and secure, gated property with cameras. You're welcome to stay there until you figure out a more permanent solution. Bianca blinked. I can't accept that. I don't even know you. I understand your hesitation, but consider this. Your ex knows where you live and where you work. He's violated a restraining order multiple times, which means he's escalating. You need somewhere safe, and I have the resources to provide that. Why would you do this for a stranger? Harrison's expression grew serious. Because I've seen what happens when dangerous situations like this get ignored. My sister went through something similar years ago. She didn't have anywhere safe to go, and she ended up in the hospital. I swore after that I'd never stand by and watch someone else go through it. The sincerity in his voice made her chest tighten. I'm so sorry about your sister. She's okay now, married with 2 kids and living in Colorado, but it was a hard road. He held her gaze. Take the guest house, no strings attached. There's a separate entrance, full kitchen, bedroom, bathroom. You'd have complete privacy. Every practical instinct told Bianca this was insane. You didn't accept housing from strangers, no matter how rich or seemingly well-intentioned. But another part of her, the part that was exhausted from 3 months of fear and sleepless nights, wanted to say yes. I can pay rent, she said finally. We can discuss that later. For now, the important thing is getting you somewhere safe tonight. Do you need to get things from your apartment? I have a bag in my car. I've been keeping one packed. Harrison nodded. Smart, follow me to the property. If you feel uncomfortable at any point, you can leave. But at least see it before you decide. Bianca knew she should call her friend Amy, should think this through more carefully. But when she looked at Harrison, she didn't see the predatory intent she'd learned to recognize in Marcus's eyes. She saw genuine concern and a solid reliability that made her want to trust him. Okay, she heard herself say. I'll follow you. The drive took them out of the city into the hills, where properties sprawled across acres rather than cramped lots. Harrison's car, a sleek black Mercedes, led her through increasingly upscale neighborhoods until they reached a gated entrance. He punched in a code and the gates swung open, revealing a winding driveway lined with mature oak trees. The main house was stunning, a modern design of glass and stone that somehow managed to look warm rather than cold. But Harrison drove past it to a smaller structure tucked among the trees, connected to the main property but clearly separate. The guest house was beautiful, with craftsman-style details and a covered porch. Harrison parked and waited while Bianca pulled in beside him. What do you think? He asked as they both got out. It's gorgeous. He unlocked the door and gestured for her to enter first. The interior was immaculate, decorated in warm neutrals with comfortable furniture and large windows that let in the fading evening light. The open floor plan included a full kitchen with granite counters, a living area with a fireplace, and a bedroom visible through a doorway. Bathrooms through there, Harrison pointed. Linens are in the closet, towels too. The internet password is on the counter. There's a security system you can control from the panel by the door, and cameras cover all the entrances to the property. Bianca set down her bag, overwhelmed. This is too much. It's sitting empty otherwise, and like I said, security is my priority here. Your ex won't be able to get anywhere near you. He handed her a key. The gate code is written on the back of my card. Change it if you want. There's also a panic button on the security panel that alerts directly to a private security company. They'll be here in under 5 minutes. She looked around the space, imagining sleeping without fear for the first time in months. I don't know what to say. Say you'll stay and be safe. Harrison moved toward the door. "I'll be in the main house if you need anything, but I'll respect your privacy. This is your space." "Harrison," she caught his arm as he reached the threshold. "Thank you, really." His eyes softened. "You're welcome, Bianca. Try to get some rest." After he left, Bianca locked the door and slumped against it, processing everything that had happened in the last hour. She pulled out her phone and called Amy. "Hey, girl," Amy answered. "You still coming over tonight? Actually, something happened." Bianca filled her in on the parking garage incident and Harrison's offer. "Wait, let me get this straight," Amy said when she finished. "Harrison Tate, billionaire real estate mogul Harrison Tate, is letting you stay in his guest house. I know how it sounds. It sounds like a fairy tale. Or a true crime documentary. I can't decide which, Amy. I'm kidding, mostly. But seriously, are you sure this is safe? He could be a creep." "He's not. I can't explain it, but I trust him." Even as she said it, Bianca marveled at the truth of the statement. "And Amy, Marcus is escalating." "Tonight was bad. I was really scared." Amy's tone shifted. Okay, you're right. Marcus is the real danger here, but send me the address and I want daily check-ins. If you miss one, I'm calling the cops. Deal." After hanging up, Bianca explored the guest house more thoroughly. The bedroom closet was spacious and empty, ready for her things. The bathroom had a deep soaking tub that made her weak with longing. In the kitchen, she found the refrigerator stocked with basics: milk, eggs, butter, fresh fruit, and vegetables. Harrison had thought of everything. She made herself tea and curled up on the couch, staring out at the darkening trees beyond the windows. For the first time in months, the knot of anxiety in her chest loosened slightly. She was safe here. Marcus didn't know where she was. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Her heart seized until she opened it. "It's Harrison. Just wanted to make sure you found everything okay. Sleep well." Bianca smiled and typed back, "Everything's perfect. Thank you again." She fell asleep that night in the comfortable bed, the security system armed and the knowledge that someone capable and strong was nearby if she needed help. No nightmares woke her. No sounds made her bolt upright in fear. She slept deeply for the first time since she'd left Marcus. Morning sun streaming through the windows woke her. Bianca stretched, momentarily disoriented by the unfamiliar room before remembering where she was. She checked her phone and found another text from Harrison. "There's coffee in the freezer and a coffee maker in the cabinet. Help yourself to anything in the kitchen. I'm in meetings all morning, but let me know if you need anything." She made coffee and scrambled eggs, moving around the kitchen in her pajamas and feeling remarkably at ease. After breakfast, she called her manager at the boutique and explained she needed a few days off for a family emergency. Then she texted Amy to check in. A knock on the door around noon made her tense, but a glance through the window showed Harrison on the porch, still in his suit but with his tie loosened. "Hey," she said, opening the door. "Come in. I don't want to intrude, I just wanted to see how your first night went." "It was the best sleep I've had in months." She gestured to the couch. "Seriously, please come in. You're not intruding." Harrison entered but remained standing, hands in his pockets. In the daylight, Bianca noticed details she'd missed before: the slight silver at his temples, the crinkles around his eyes that suggested he smiled often, the wedding ring finger that was bare. "I've been thinking about your situation," he said. "And I'd like to help you build a more comprehensive safety plan. I have lawyers who handle restraining orders and can help strengthen yours. I also have contacts with law enforcement who can put pressure on your ex to comply." "I can't afford fancy lawyers, Harrison. You're not paying. I am." "No," she shook her head. "You've already done too much. I can't accept that." "Then consider it a loan. Pay me back when you're on your feet." His tone was firm but not pushy. Bianca, from what you told me last night, your ex isn't going to stop on his own. Men like that need to face real consequences before they back off. She wanted to argue, but he was right. Marcus had ignored every boundary, every warning. Okay, but I am paying you back. Deal. Harrison smiled, and it transformed his face from handsome to devastating. Can I take you to lunch? We can discuss the legal strategy. Bianca glanced down at her yoga pants and sweatshirt. I'm not exactly dressed for going out. We can order in. I have a home office in the main house. Unless you're not comfortable with that, she considered. Everything about this situation should make her uncomfortable. But somehow it didn't. Harrison had been nothing but respectful and helpful. Give me 20 minutes to change. His home office was a revelation of floor-to-ceiling windows and sleek furniture, with architectural plans spread across a massive desk. While they waited for the food delivery, Harrison made calls to his legal team, explaining Bianca's situation with an efficiency that spoke of someone used to getting things done. They'll start the paperwork today, he said after hanging up. But they'll need to meet with you to get all the details. Is tomorrow afternoon okay? Tomorrow's perfect. I took a few days off work. Good. You should take time to decompress. Harrison's eyes studied her with concern. This kind of stress takes a toll. The food arrived and they ate at a small table by the windows, the conversation flowing more easily than Bianca expected. Harrison asked about her job at the boutique, and she found herself telling him about her dreams of eventually opening her own shop. What's stopping you? He asked. Money, mainly, and confidence, probably. It's a big risk. All good things require risk. He took a sip of water. But I understand the hesitation. Starting a business is a huge undertaking. What made you start Tate Industries? Harrison leaned back in his chair. Family business, actually. My father started it, and I took over when he retired 10 years ago. I've expanded it beyond what he built, but the foundation was his. You enjoy it. Most days. Commercial real estate can be cutthroat, but I like the challenge of building something lasting. Creating spaces where businesses thrive, where people work and live. He paused. Though I'll admit, the best part is having the resources to help people when they need it. Bianca felt warmth spread through her chest. Your sister is lucky to have you. We're close. She's the one who keeps me grounded when I get too focused on work. His expression turned thoughtful. What about you? Any siblings? A brother, Danny. He's in the military, stationed overseas right now. I haven't told him about Marcus yet. He'd lose his mind and probably go AWOL to come protect me. Sounds like a good brother. The best. Though I hate worrying him when he's so far away. They talked through lunch and into the afternoon, conversation ranging from family to favorite books to travel dreams. Bianca couldn't remember the last time she'd felt so comfortable with someone, especially someone she'd just met. Harrison listened when she spoke, asked thoughtful questions, and shared stories that made her laugh. When she finally glanced at her phone, she was shocked to see it was nearly 5 o'clock. I should let you get back to work, she said. I've monopolized your whole afternoon. I enjoyed it. Harrison stood and collected their empty containers. You're good company, Bianca. Walking back to the guest house, she felt lighter than she had in months. Maybe it was the safety of her new temporary home, or maybe it was Harrison's steady presence, but something had shifted inside her. The next week fell into an unexpected rhythm. Bianca met with Harrison's lawyers, who filed motions to strengthen her restraining order and compiled evidence of Marcus's violations. The police, prompted by Harrison's connections, finally took her complaint seriously and issued a warrant for Marcus's arrest. Meanwhile, Bianca spent her days settling into the guest house and her evenings often with Harrison. He'd knock on her door around 7. usually with takeout or groceries for them to cook together. They'd eat and talk, sometimes watching movies, sometimes just sitting on the porch as the sun set over the hills. "This is becoming a habit," Bianca said one evening as Harrison arrived with Thai food. "Is that a problem?" "No," she smiled and took the bags from him. "It's nice. I just don't want to be a burden on your time." "You're not a burden." Harrison followed her inside. "Honestly, you're the best part of my day lately. Work has been intense and coming here gives me something to look forward to." The admission made her heart skip. She'd been trying not to read too much into their growing friendship, but comments like that made it difficult. "Rough day?" she asked as they plated the food. "Client wanted to back out of a deal at the last minute. Took hours of negotiation to salvage it." He ran a hand through his hair, looking tired. "Sometimes I wonder if the stress is worth it. Why do you do it if you're not sure? Because when it works, it's incredible. When I see a project come together, when a development brings jobs and opportunity to an area that needed it, that makes everything worthwhile." They ate on the couch, and Bianca noticed Harrison sitting closer than usual. His shoulder brushed hers as he reached for his drink. The touch sent electricity through her arm. "Can I ask you something?" Harrison said after a while. "Of course." "What made you stay with Marcus as long as you did? You're clearly smart and capable. What kept you there?" Bianca set down her fork, the question hitting deeper than she expected. "It wasn't always bad. At first he was charming, attentive. He made me feel special. The controlling behavior started small, little comments about my clothes or who I spent time with. By the time I realized how bad it was, I'd already isolated myself from most of my friends. He'd convinced me nobody else would understand our relationship. That's textbook manipulation. I know that now, but in the moment you don't see it clearly. You make excuses. You think you can fix it." She looked at Harrison. "Leaving was the hardest thing I've ever done. He told me I'd never make it on my own, that I needed him. Part of me believed it. You're stronger than you think." Harrison's hand found hers on the couch cushion between them. "Look at everything you've survived." The warmth of his palm against hers felt like coming home. Bianca's breath caught as she met his eyes and saw something there beyond friendship, something that made her pulse race. "Harrison," she whispered, "tell me if I'm reading this wrong." His thumb traced circles on the back of her hand. "But I'm feeling things I probably shouldn't be feeling." "Not this soon, not given the circumstances." "You're not reading it wrong." Her voice came out barely audible. "I'm feeling it too." He leaned closer, his free hand coming up to cup her cheek. "I don't want to take advantage of the situation. You've been through trauma and you're vulnerable right now." "I'm vulnerable, but I'm not confused about this." Bianca's heart hammered as she closed the distance between them. "I want this. I want you." Harrison kissed her then, soft and careful, like she was something precious. Bianca melted into it, her hands finding the solid warmth of his chest. The kiss deepened, years of loneliness and fear falling away in the face of this new feeling blooming between them. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Harrison rested his forehead against hers. "I haven't felt this way in a long time," he admitted. "Neither have I. Actually, I'm not sure I've ever felt this way." Bianca touched his face, tracing the strong line of his jaw. "You make me feel safe and excited all at once. You make me feel like myself again. Not just the CEO or the billionaire, just Harrison." They kissed again, slower this time, learning the contours of each other. When Harrison finally left that night, Bianca touched her fingers to her lips and smiled. Despite everything terrible that had brought her here, something wonderful was unfolding. 2 days later, the police arrested Marcus at his apartment. Harrison's lawyers called with the news, and Bianca cried with relief. He'd been charged with multiple restraining order violations and faced serious jail time. Harrison showed up at her door within an hour of the news, pulling her into his arms. "It's over," he said into her hair. "He can't hurt you anymore. I can't believe it's really over." She clung to him, letting the reality sink in. "The prosecutor says with his record and the evidence, he'll likely take a plea deal. Either way, he'll be locked up for a while." They celebrated that night with champagne on the porch, watching stars emerge in the darkening sky. Bianca felt lighter than she had in years, as if an invisible weight had lifted from her shoulders. "What happens now?" she asked, nestled against Harrison's side on the porch swing. "What do you want to happen?" "I should probably start looking for an apartment, get my life back on track." The words felt wrong even as she said them. The thought of leaving this place, leaving Harrison, made her chest ache. "Or," Harrison said carefully, "you could stay, not in the guest house, I mean, with me." Bianca sat up to look at him. "Harrison, I know it's fast. I know we've only known each other a few weeks, but Bianca, I'm falling for you. Hell, I've already fallen." He took her hands. "I wake up thinking about you. I count down the hours until I can see you. You've become the most important part of my life." "I feel the same way." Tears pricked her eyes. "But are you sure? I come with baggage, an ex in jail, a life I need to rebuild." "Everyone has baggage, and I want to be there while you rebuild. I want to help you chase your dreams. I want to fall asleep next to you and wake up with you every morning." "I want that too." She kissed him, tasting champagne and promise on his lips. "Yes, yes, I'll stay." Moving into the main house happened gradually over the next week. Bianca transferred her things from the guest house to Harrison's bedroom, a space that quickly became theirs. They cooked breakfast together before Harrison left for work, and he came home at reasonable hours now, eager to spend evenings with her. "My assistant thinks I've lost my mind," Harrison said one night, wrapping his arms around Bianca as she chopped vegetables. "I've never left the office before 8 in my life. Should I feel guilty about that?" "Never." He kissed her neck. "You're the best thing that's ever happened to me." 3 months into their relationship, Harrison surprised Bianca with a storefront in a trendy shopping district. "What's this?" she asked as he led her to the empty space. "Your boutique, if you want it." He handed her a key. "The property is mine. You can design it however you want. Take your time, do it right." Bianca stared at the empty shop, then at Harrison. "This is too much. It's an investment." "I believe in you, Bianca. I've seen the sketches you make, heard your ideas. You have a vision and you should pursue it. I can't just accept a storefront from you. Then pay me rent once you're profitable, or we can work out a partnership agreement. But don't let pride stop you from chasing your dream." Harrison pulled her close. "Let me help you build something amazing." Tears streamed down her face as she nodded. "Okay, yes, thank you." The next 6 months were a whirlwind of activity. Bianca threw herself into designing her boutique, working with contractors and suppliers while Harrison provided advice and connections. He introduced her to his network, helped her navigate business permits, and celebrated every milestone. The shop, which she named Willow after her grandmother, opened on a crisp October morning. Bianca stood in the doorway, taking in the racks of carefully curated clothing, the vintage furniture she'd refinished, the warm lighting that made everything glow. "You did it," Harrison said, his arm around her waist. "We did it." She looked up at him. "I couldn't have done this without you. You would have found a way. You're the strongest person I know." He kissed her temple. "But I'm glad I could be part of it." The boutique succeeded beyond her expectations. Customers loved Bianca's eye for style and her personal approach to service. Within 3 months, she'd turned a profit. Within 6, she was considering expanding. Through it all, her relationship with Harrison deepened. They traveled together, exploring cities and beaches. They hosted dinners for his business associates and her friends. Amy had long since approved of Harrison, joking that Bianca had won the boyfriend lottery. "He's perfect for you," Amy said during one of their girls' nights. "I've never seen you this happy." "I didn't know I could be this happy," Bianca smiled. "After Marcus, I thought I was broken, but Harrison makes me feel whole." "You were never broken, babe. You were healing. Harrison just helped you see your own strength." One evening in late spring, Harrison took Bianca to dinner at an exclusive restaurant overlooking the city. She'd grown used to his tendency toward romantic gestures, but something about tonight felt different. He seemed nervous, fidgeting with his wine glass. "Is everything okay?" she asked. "Everything's perfect, better than perfect." He reached across the table for her hand. "Bianca, this past year with you has been the best of my life. You've changed everything for me, made me remember what's really important." Her heart started to race. "Harrison, I love your laugh. I love how you bite your lip when you're concentrating. I love how you care about people, how you've built this incredible business from nothing. I love falling asleep with you and waking up to your face." He stood and came around the table, kneeling beside her chair. Bianca's hands flew to her mouth as Harrison pulled out a ring box. "I love you more than I thought it was possible to love someone. You're my partner, my best friend, my home. Bianca Walsh, will you marry me?" "Yes." The word burst from her before he'd even finished the question. "Yes, yes, of course yes." Harrison slipped the ring onto her finger, a stunning emerald-cut diamond that caught the candlelight. Then he pulled her into his arms and kissed her while the restaurant erupted in applause around them. "I can't believe this is real," Bianca said against his lips. "Believe it. You're stuck with me now." They planned the wedding for the following spring, wanting time to enjoy their engagement. Bianca's brother Danny came home on leave and met Harrison, giving his approval after subjecting him to a thorough brotherly interrogation. "He's good enough for you," Danny told Bianca afterward. "Barely, but he loves you right, and that's what matters." Harrison's sister Claire flew in from Colorado and instantly bonded with Bianca over wedding planning and shared experiences with controlling exes. "I'm so glad Harrison found you," Claire said during their bridesmaid dress shopping trip. "After our mom died, he threw himself into work. I was worried he'd never let anyone in, but you've brought him back to life." The wedding day dawned clear and beautiful. They held the ceremony on Harrison's property, the same place where their story had truly begun. White chairs lined the lawn and flowers adorned every surface. Bianca walked down the aisle in a simple but elegant gown, her eyes locked on Harrison waiting at the altar. He looked devastating in his tuxedo, but it was the expression on his face, the love and awe, that made her breath catch. "You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen," he whispered as she reached him. The ceremony was intimate, surrounded by close friends and family. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, Harrison kissed her like they were the only two people in the world. At the reception, Harrison pulled Bianca onto the dance floor for their first dance as a married couple. "Happy," he murmured in her ear. "Happier than I ever imagined possible." She rested her head on his shoulder. "Thank you for saving me." "You saved yourself, sweetheart. I just gave you a safe place to land." "We saved each other." She looked up at him. "I love you so much. I love you too, always." 2 years later, Bianca sat in the rocking chair in the nursery of their home, now remodeled to accommodate their growing family. She cradled their daughter Emma against her chest, breathing in that perfect baby smell. Harrison appeared in the doorway, exhausted but smiling. "Is she finally asleep?" "Just now. This girl has your stubborn streak." He crossed the room and kissed Bianca's forehead. "She has your beauty, though, so we're in trouble when she's older. We have time to prepare." Harrison knelt beside the chair, his hand on Emma's tiny back. Sometimes I still can't believe this is our life, that we get this happiness. Me neither. Bianca touched his face with her free hand. But we deserve it. After everything, we deserve this joy. They sat together in the peaceful nursery, their daughter sleeping between them and years of love stretching ahead. Bianca thought about the terrified woman in that parking garage years ago, never imagining the man who stepped in to help would become her whole world. She'd gone from running scared to building a life beyond her wildest dreams. A successful business, a husband who cherished her, a beautiful daughter, and a home filled with love. The darkness of her past with Marcus felt like a distant memory now, unable to touch the bright future she and Harrison had created. "What are you thinking about?" Harrison asked softly. "How grateful I am. For you, for Emma, for all of this. You gave me more than just a safe place to stay. You gave me my life back. You gave me a life worth living." He kissed her gently. "Best decision I ever made was offering you that guest house. Best decision I ever made was saying yes." Emma stirred in her sleep, her tiny hand curling around Bianca's finger. Harrison stood and carefully lifted their daughter, carrying her to the crib. They stood together watching her sleep, Harrison's arm around Bianca's waist. "I'm thinking about expanding Willow," Bianca said quietly. "Opening a second location. Tell me about it." They moved into the hallway, leaving Emma's door cracked, and Bianca outlined her vision for the expansion. Harrison listened intently, asking questions and offering suggestions, the same way he'd supported every dream she'd chased since they met. Later, lying in bed with Harrison's arms around her, Bianca felt profound contentment wash over her. Her life hadn't been easy. She'd endured abuse and fear, had to rebuild herself from nothing. But every hard moment had led her here, to this man and this life. "I love you," she whispered into the darkness. "I love you more," Harrison replied, pulling her closer. "Not possible." He chuckled, the sound rumbling through his chest. "Want to bet? What are the stakes? Loser makes breakfast tomorrow. Deal. But I should warn you, I'm going to win." "We'll see about that." Harrison's hand found hers under the covers, their wedding bands clicking softly together. "Though honestly, I feel like I've already won everything that matters." Bianca turned in his arms to face him, able to make out his features in the moonlight streaming through the windows. "We both won." He kissed her then, slow and deep, and Bianca poured everything she felt into it. All her love, her gratitude, her commitment to building this beautiful life together. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Harrison rested his forehead against hers. "I'm going to love you forever," he said. "Promise? Promise." As sleep pulled her under, safe in her husband's arms in the home they'd built together, Bianca smiled. She'd been saved, yes, but not just from a dangerous ex. Harrison had saved her from a life of fear and limitation, showing her she was capable of so much more than she'd believed. And in return, she'd saved him from a life alone, from being just a billionaire CEO instead of a husband and father. They'd saved each other, really, meeting at exactly the right moment and building something neither could have created alone. The guest house still stood on the property, now used for visiting family. Sometimes Bianca walked past it and remembered that first night, scared and uncertain but hoping for safety. She'd found so much more than safety. She'd found home. The following years brought more growth and joy. Willow expanded to 3 locations, each as successful as the first. Bianca hired staff and began mentoring young women interested in fashion retail, paying forward the support Harrison had given her. Emma grew into a bright, curious toddler who wrapped both her parents around her tiny finger. When Bianca discovered she was pregnant again, Harrison cried with happiness, already imagining their expanded family. They welcomed a son, Jacob, on a snowy December morning. Emma, now 3, was fascinated by her baby brother, constantly wanting to help. "Our family is complete," Harrison said, holding Jacob while Emma sat pressed against his side. "Perfect," Bianca agreed, taking a photo of her 3 favorite people. But life wasn't without challenges. Willow's second location struggled initially, requiring Bianca to put in long hours to turn it around. Harrison's company faced a major lawsuit that consumed months of his time. They learned to support each other through stress, to communicate openly, to prioritize their relationship even when life got hectic. "Marriage is work," Claire told Bianca during one particularly hard week. "But when it's with the right person, the work is worth it." She was right. Even during difficult times, Bianca never doubted Harrison's love or commitment. He was her partner in every sense, sharing responsibilities and supporting her dreams while pursuing his own. When Emma started kindergarten, Bianca found herself with more free time. She used it to launch a nonprofit helping women leaving abusive relationships, providing resources, housing assistance, and job training. "This is important work," Harrison said when she shared her plans. "And I want to help. Let's endow it properly, make sure it has sustainable funding." The foundation, called New Beginnings, opened its doors a year later. Bianca threw herself into the work, finding deep satisfaction in helping women who'd been where she was. Every woman they helped felt like honoring her own journey. One evening, speaking at a fundraiser for New Beginnings, Bianca shared her story publicly for the first time. She talked about Marcus, about the fear and isolation, about the parking garage and Harrison's intervention. Her voice stayed strong even as tears streamed down her face. "I was lucky," she told the crowd. "I found someone willing to help, someone with resources to keep me safe. But so many women don't have that. They're trapped by finances, by fear, by a system that doesn't always protect them. New Beginnings exists to be their Harrison, to give them the safety and support they need to rebuild their lives." Harrison watched from the audience, pride evident on his face. After her speech, he pulled her into his arms. "I'm so proud of you," he said fiercely. "Look at what you've built. Look at how many lives you're changing." "We're changing," she corrected. "I couldn't do any of this without you." Years continued to pass in a blur of school events and business expansions and family vacations. Emma grew into a confident 10-year-old who wanted to be a fashion designer like her mom. Jacob, at 7, was obsessed with architecture and spent hours studying his dad's building plans. Bianca stood in her closet one morning, getting ready for a meeting, when she caught sight of herself in the mirror. 40 looked good on her. She'd grown into herself over the years, found a strength and confidence she'd never had in her 20s. Harrison appeared behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Beautiful. You're biased, absolutely, but also correct." He kissed her neck. "Ready for your meeting, as I'll ever be. Wish me luck." "You don't need luck, you've got this." The meeting was with potential investors for a 4th Willow location. Bianca pitched her vision with confidence born from years of success. By the end, they'd agreed to fund the expansion. She called Harrison immediately. "We got it." Never doubted it for a second. "Dinner tonight to celebrate." Perfect. They went to the same restaurant where Harrison had proposed, a tradition for celebrating major milestones. Over wine and excellent food, they reflected on how far they'd come. "Remember when you were afraid to accept help?" Harrison teased. "Remember when you were a workaholic who never left the office? We've both grown." He took her hand across the table. 15 years together, and I fall more in love with you every day." "Only 15, feels like forever. The good kind of forever. The best kind." Harrison's thumb traced her wedding band. "I've been thinking about something. What if we renewed our vows, had a big celebration with the kids and all our friends, Bianca's eyes lit up. "I'd love that. When our anniversary next spring gives us time to plan." They spent the rest of dinner dreaming up ideas for the vow renewal, excitement building as they talked. After 15 years of marriage, they still found joy in celebrating their love. The vow renewal ceremony took place on the same spot where they'd married, but this time, Emma and Jacob stood beside them. Emma held Bianca's bouquet while Jacob carried the rings, both beaming with pride. Bianca had written new vows, and her voice shook with emotion as she read them. "Harrison, 15 years ago you saved my life, not just from danger, but from a future where I'd forgotten my own worth. You showed me I was strong, capable, deserving of love. You've been my partner in building businesses and raising children and creating a life more beautiful than I ever imagined. I promise to love you, support you, and choose you every day for the rest of our lives." Harrison's own vows brought tears to her eyes. "Bianca, you walked into my life and changed everything. You made me a better man, a better father, a better human. Your strength inspires me daily. Your love completes me. You've given me a family, a home, a reason to leave the office at reasonable hours." Laughter rippled through the crowd. "I promise to keep earning your love every single day, to be your safe place, your biggest supporter, your partner in all things. I love you more than words can express." They kissed as their friends and family cheered, and Bianca felt overwhelmed with gratitude for this life. Her children hugged them both, and Harrison lifted Jacob while keeping his arm around Bianca and Emma. "Best family ever," Jacob declared. "Agreed," Emma said. The reception was joyous, full of dancing and laughter. Late in the evening, Harrison and Bianca slipped away to the guest house, wanting a quiet moment alone. "This is where it all started," Bianca said, looking around the space now furnished for guests. "Feels like a lifetime ago. A good lifetime." She moved into his arms. "Thank you for everything, Harrison. For seeing me when I felt invisible, for believing in me when I'd forgotten how, for loving me so completely. Thank you for saying yes to the guest house. For taking a chance on a stranger, for building this incredible life with me." He cupped her face in his hands. "You're my everything, Bianca." They made love in the guest house that night, christening the space where their journey had begun with a renewal of their commitment. Afterward, lying tangled together, Bianca felt profound peace. "No regrets?" Harrison asked softly. "Not a single one. Only that I didn't meet you sooner. We met exactly when we were supposed to. You needed time to build your empire. I needed to learn some hard lessons. Everything led us to that parking garage. Fate," Harrison said, "or luck, or divine intervention. Whatever it was, I'm grateful." They returned to the reception to find Emma and Jacob teaching their grandparents how to dance. Claire caught Bianca's eye and winked, and Amy raised her glass in a toast. Their community, their chosen family, surrounded them with love. As the evening wound down and guests departed, the Tate family walked back to the main house together. Emma and Jacob ran ahead, still full of energy despite the late hour. Harrison's hand found Bianca's, their fingers interlacing with practiced ease. "Happy?" he asked, the same question he'd been asking for 15 years. "Incredibly happy," she answered, the same response she always gave because it never stopped being true. Inside, they tucked the children into bed, reading stories and dispensing goodnight kisses. Then Harrison and Bianca retreated to their own room, both exhausted but content. "Best day," Harrison said, pulling her close. "Best life," Bianca corrected. She fell asleep in her husband's arms in the home they'd built, surrounded by the family they'd created. The scared woman from the parking garage felt like a character from someone else's story now. Bianca had healed, had grown, had become the woman she was always meant to be. And through it all, Harrison had been there. Her protector, her partner, her love. He'd offered his guest house and eventually his heart, and in return she'd given him the family and connection he'd been missing. Their story had started with danger and fear, but it had transformed into something beautiful. A testament to resilience, to love, to the power of finding the right person at the right moment and building something lasting together. As sleep claimed her, Bianca smiled. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and new joys. But whatever came, they'd face it together. That was the promise they'd made 15 years ago and the promise they'd renewed today. Forever together, building a life more wonderful than either had dared to dream.